Mario Barrios weighs in at 146.2 pounds. 146.2.
146.8 pounds for...
I belong in. This is the one I feel the most comfortable, so excited to start my journey at 147.
A todos mi gente mexicano que está aquí. Viva la raza! But yeah, no, this is huge for me, for my career. Yeah, man, I'm excited to step into tomorrow. Best of luck.
Chaos erupted as Ryan Garcia nearly fought with Mario Barrios at the final weigh-in, and suddenly the calm monk mode narrative around Ryan got cracked open by pure fight week electricity.
I've already said it all, I've done it all, and now I'm just ready to kick. I'm going there and just this man up. You don't understand. I'm gonna him up. You don't know what I've been training like. You don't know the vision I have. You do not know I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I'll break this whole thing right now. That's how I'm firing. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm strong. Strong. And I'm louder than that whole team. They got like 5 people there. Look how loud. We couldn't hear you.
1 second it was a stare down, and the next second the tension looked like it might spill over, and you could feel that invisible line between promotion and real emotion getting dangerously thin.
Like, people are overlooking that aspect. Like, do you feel like people are vastly overlooking your experience coming into this fight?
They might be, but you know, it doesn't make a difference of what's gonna happen, you know, come fight night.
How does a dominant performance against Ryan look like?
Just, you know, just making him uncomfortable, you know, just exploiting, you know, his weaknesses, which I think he has a lot in his fighting style. Not saying he's not dangerous, you know, not saying that, you know, there isn't things that he's really great at. I just know that I'm a better.
Then you rewind to the press conference, and the verbal chess match was already heating the room, with Ryan talking with that cold confidence, basically framing Barrios as just the opponent while hinting he is coming in stronger, sharper, and fully reborn.
I just think that I'm one of those guys that I will just beat him, and I just think that everybody thinks he's just some savant in the ring, and I'm just here to take that away. That's pretty much what it is. They thought Devin Haney was the same way. He's unbeatable. That's what Eddie Hearn said, right? And then went and beat his ass. Same thing with Shakur. I know people are saying he's pound for pound, this and that, but I don't see it. He gonna have to prove it. I beat him in the amateurs. I'll beat him again, and I will hurt him. You don't understand me? Like, I will humble him in ways that he's never been humbled before.
I just think that I am one of those guys that I will just beat him, and I just think that everybody thinks he is just some savant in the ring, and I am just here to take that away, and that is pretty much what it is, because they thought Devin Haney was the same way and unbeatable, and then I went and beat his ass. And same thing with Shakur, because I know people are saying he is pound for pound this and that, but I do not see it, and he is going to have to prove it. And I beat him in the amateurs, and I will beat him again, and I will hurt him, and you do not understand me. Like, I will humble him in ways that he has never been humbled before. While Barrios fired back in a completely different tone, calm, dismissive, and almost amused, like antics do not win fights but execution does, and that contrast alone is cinematic, because Ryan's energy felt like ignition and Barrios felt like containment, with one being a loud belief and the other being quiet certainty.
Anyways, we did been doing some research for Mario. He fought Keith Thurman with 10-ounce gloves. We don't want that. We want 8-ounce.
What's that?
Keith Thurman, he fought him with 10-ounce gloves. We want 8-ounce. So we want to know what decision you're gonna make. Are you gonna do 8-ounce or 10-ounce? I want it 8. I want to go at it straight up.
Oh, 8?
We want the danger.
It's already determined. We already got our 8 ounces.
Okay, so we're doing 8.
Are you
Let's
kidding?
go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Okay, well, I don't know who we're guys, but we're doing 8-ounce.
And when fighters with opposite emotional temperatures collide, face-to-face sparks are inevitable, and the near scuffle does not just sell drama, it reveals mindset, because Ryan looks emotionally charged, mission-driven, and almost vibrating with urgency.
Like how big I am. I've been seeing interviews and everything. He's trying to like downplay like the size difference. He was trying to say it's because I was wearing Docs, but he was wearing like platform Converse. So I think that's like the main thing that like he's gonna be surprised with. Because I know in a lot of his fights, you know, he builds a lot of momentum by walking, you know, these fighters down. But I don't think, you know, he's gonna be able to do that, you know, when he has like that presence in front of him.
Barrios still has composed champion posture with a war of words outside and silent calculations inside, and that psychological clash might be more explosive than the punches themselves on fight night.
Be a motivated Ryan, which ultimately is going to make him very dangerous inside the ring. But I see a Barrios who is confident, a Barrios who's coming off a draw with the legendary Manny Pacquiao, which counts for a lot because, trust me, when Ryan hits him and he goes down, he's going to get right back up. So it might be a long night for both guys. It's going to be a fun.
And that chaotic way in tension bleeds perfectly into Oscar de la Hoya's preview, because the moment he starts talking about the first bell, butterflies, adrenaline and intentions colliding, I am instantly thinking that this is not about press conference energy anymore, but about psychological truth under lights. And Oscar literally says Ryan was not motivated for the BRAWL fight and paid the price, and that hits harder than any highlight clip, because that is a legend basically diagnosing mindset. Failure, not skill failure.
I think a lot of things went wrong in his camp. Just wasn't focused right from the start. When the fight was maybe being negotiated to the final bell, he just wasn't there psychologically. I don't think he wanted that fight. I don't think he was motivated to fight.
Then he flips and says he now sees a motivated Ryan, and that is where the danger spikes in my mind, because a focused version of a naturally explosive puncher is a completely different equation than a distracted one. But he does not let Barrios get overshadowed either, and he keeps reminding us Barrios is confident coming off a draw with Pacquiao, and I am nodding like that experience alone builds a different kind of durability. And Oscar even warns that when Ryan hits him and drops him, Barrios is the type to get back up, which low-key sounds like a subtle prediction of a war instead of a quick finish. And when he calls this a do-or-die fight for Ryan, that line crashes into everything we have heard all camp about redemption, focus and pressure.
And didn't lose. Took the draw. I think that gives him more confidence. We're not going to see the Barrios that we saw with Pacquiao. We're going to see a whole new, improved, stronger, faster, better Barrios because of the Pacquiao fight. So yeah, Ryan better be in the best shape of his life. He better be, stay focused, in control, and take.
Then he adds the psychological layer about trainers in opposite corners and mind games, and suddenly this fight feels less like speed versus discipline and more like composure versus chaos management. And I also caught how he says Barrios is predictable but determined, while Ryan is the unpredictable variable, and that contrast is exactly why this matchup feels volatile instead of straightforward, with one man being structure and the other being momentum swings, while Oscar keeps repeating whoever wants it more. And honestly, that sounds simple on paper, but in a fight where one guy is rebuilding his mental identity and the other is defending his championship pride, that hunger question becomes the entire storyline hiding behind the punches.
It's a matter of having the love for the sport once again. Remember what got you here. Don't remember where you're gonna go. Remember what got you here. So I see a Ryan that's focused. I see a Ryan that's determined. I see a Ryan that really wants it. So I think come February fight night, it's gonna be a very, very intense fight for both guys.
And that reflective, almost philosophical tone we just heard about lessons and discipline suddenly snaps into a completely different energy the moment Ryan starts talking here, because now he is not sounding like a man rebuilding, but like a man convinced the storm phase is over and the championship phase is loading. And when Ryan says all those past camps, trainer switches and chaos shaped his character, I instantly read that as him rewriting his own narrative in real time, like he is framing every misstep as necessary seasoning instead of damage. And honestly, that mindset can be either elite maturity or elite self-belief, depending on what shows up on fight night. And then he casually says he rededicated himself to diet, discipline and sacrifice, and I am thinking, okay, that lines up perfectly with the sharper, calmer version we have been seeing in camp footage, not the overactive highlight chasing Ryan, but a more surgical one. But the moment he says Barrios will not be able to handle the speed and that punches are coming from everywhere, that is the classic Ryan confidence returning.
Yourself winning the fight on Saturday?
Oh man, I just want to be sharp. I just want to show people how sharp I am. When you put the pressure on yourself, it kind of, sometimes you force things. So I think
are you feeling like, are you putting pressure on yourself?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you try to predict what you want, or like envision how it should be, you kind of get too,
like in your head about it. Yeah.
I'm just here, and you're gonna see me fight my best I can fight.
And let us be real, speed has always been his cheat code when he is mentally dialed in, but what really caught my attention though is when he flat out says Barrios brings nothing he has not seen before, and that is bold, maybe too bold, because overlooking a durable champion is historically a risky habit in boxing. And then the conversation suddenly jumps to Shakur, and boom, the intensity spikes with Ryan talking about beating him, humbling him, and taking away that savant aura, and that is not just future talk, that is psychological positioning, because he is speaking like a man who already sees himself as champion before the belt is even in his hands. And meanwhile he critiques Teofimo's chaos in camp while subtly implying his own camp is now structured, which is ironic considering that chaos label followed him for years. And that contradiction is fascinating, with calm tone, aggressive vision, spiritual framing, and savage confidence all colliding in one interview.
Mario is going to be like super surprised from you on the night of the fight, or is not expecting from you?
I just don't think he's gonna be able to expect that these punches coming from everywhere, to be real. I just don't think he'll be able to handle my speed. But, you know, when you're in there, we'll see. But he's just not gonna be able to keep up with me. It's just point blank period.
Yeah. And on the flip, is there something that you feel he brings that you've never seen before in a fight?
Nah.
Nothing at all?
Absolutely not, nah.
Height, size?
But that surge of confidence Ryan is projecting suddenly meets a completely different tone in this inside the ring breakdown, because the moment Max Kellerman says Ryan is unusually talented but gives Rocky 3 before Clubber Lang vibes, I immediately pause, like that is not a compliment wrapped in nostalgia but a warning dressed as a movie reference. And Max is basically saying the talent is elite but the optics are questionable, and in boxing optics eventually get audited by punches. And then Mike drops that bomb about Ryan admitting he did not even want to be in the Brawly fight and knew he was overweight and mentally off, and suddenly the narrative shifts from inconsistency to self-awareness, which is actually more dangerous than blind confidence. But Gabe Rosado cutting straight to you lacks discipline hits like a veteran reality check, and I cannot ignore how he contrasts that with Barrios being disciplined, steady, and almost boring in demeanor, which in championship fights translates to terrifying reliability.
Are we worried? Even if Barrios isn't Clubber Lang? Cop, let's start with you.
You have to be a little worried, Max. I mean, we saw what Rolly Romero, Shady's favorite, did to Ryan Garcia last May in Times Square. You know, Ryan was like a deer in the headlights, and I was actually with Ryan at his training camp in Calabasas on Thursday. Ryan said, look, when I fought Rolly, I didn't even want to be there. I had a really high mountain to climb. I knew I was 30 pounds overweight. I hadn't fought in a year. I was coming off suspension. He said, I knew I was going to lose.
When you put your eyes on him, do you see unusual talent, speed and power?
Absolutely, but it's just he lacks the discipline.
Right.
And when you're fighting a guy like Barrios who is disciplined, he's a little boring. I mean, Barrios really doesn't, you know, he's not charismatic or nothing like that. He's not like Ryan.
But that surge of confidence Ryan is projecting suddenly meets a completely different tone in this inside the ring breakdown, because the moment Max Kellerman says Ryan is unusually talented but gives Rocky 3 before Clubber Lang vibes, I immediately pause, like that is not a compliment wrapped in nostalgia but a warning dressed as a movie reference. And Max is basically saying the talent is elite but the optics are questionable, and in boxing optics eventually get audited by punches. And then Mike drops that bomb about Ryan admitting he did not even want to be in the Brawly fight and knew he was overweight and mentally off, and suddenly the narrative shifts from inconsistency to self-awareness, which is actually more dangerous than blind confidence. But Gabe Rosado cutting straight to you lacks discipline hits like a veteran reality check, and I cannot ignore how he contrasts that with Barrios being disciplined, steady, and almost boring in demeanor, which in championship fights translates to terrifying reliability.
In his corner for this fight, which is going to add a lot to Barrios, because he knows the errors that Ryan makes. He knows Ryan personally, so that's a plus for Barrios. It's dangerous for Ryan.
Well, one thing about Ryan Garcia that we all know is that he's always trying to trick somebody. So he might show videos in the kitchen with his dad, you know, YouTubers, this, that, but he might really be training. And I've been talking to Ryan, and Ryan seems focused. His weight's on the right, like Mike just talked about.
Alright everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.